you recognize that anthem? Well, it's the national anthem of Malta. And this is Adrienne Berg, host of The Ageless Traveler, bringing you a very special show about a very special island in the Mediterranean. We are talking about Malta. It's a place that I have been multiple times in multiple ways and always had the same wonderful experience. Malta is in the forefront. It is as trendy as they get. That's why I wanted to talk with Robyn Pratt, who's the general manager of one of the stellar hotels in Malta, a place you can spend a month, a week, but you can also use it as a destination if you simply are on a cruise and it's one of your ports. November 2024, coming right up on the 23rd, 24th, is the first in the world European mountain bike race. Thank you so much, Robyn, for being with us today.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Really, really, very, very happy to join you.
Now, a lot of people don't know exactly where Malta is, but they've seen it. You know why? Because it's one of the locations where they shoot a lot of films and TV and Netflix, like the Game of Thrones and Assassin's Creed. So you may know it more than you think you do. But tell us, Robyn, where is Malta?
Malta is in the Mediterranean. It is around about an hour's flight from Rome. It is quite close to Tunisia and Libya. So you've got a touch of Africa and Italy. We're very close, accessible to Sicily, a ferry ride away to Sicily. So, yeah, we're really a great location. And in fact, when you get into the Maltese history, a very strategic location in the Mediterranean waters.
I was there just about a month ago because the Mediterranean cruises that take you around to Sicily generally do go to Malta now. There was a time that was not the case. So it's more accessible than ever on a port, a plane, and so on. So tell us a little bit about some of the UNESCO sites that we'll want to visit.
Yes. Well, actually, we're on the doorstep of Valletta, which as a city, the whole city is a UNESCO site. So as you enter the gates of Valletta, you can really wander along the very narrow streets. It's beautiful, those beautiful windows and buildings that are extremely quaint. And whatever little narrow street you go down, there's always something to see. But then we have the Mdina, which is one of the oldest cities in the world, around 20 minutes away from Valletta and our hotel. You have some of the oldest temples in the world. Some people don't realize that there's such history in Malta, but we've got the Haga Kim temples in Shrendi, all very difficult to pronounce. And as an Australian, having to learn all these pronunciations has been an interesting thing. And that's only about 25 minutes away by car. And then there's the island of Gozo, which has got a lot of different sites there, beautiful churches. Malta is a very Catholic island. In fact, there's 365 churches. So There is so much to see.
Well, I'll tell you, I was in Gozo for quite a while ago, and I was with my daughter, and this I wanted to explain to everyone. My daughter was probably the age of most of the people listening's grandchildren. She was 6. I now have a 6-year-old granddaughter. I would say if I was going to do a grandmother trip right now, that's where I would go. One of the things that is hardly ever mentioned about Malta, and I want to bring it up, is it's terrific for children. These UNESCO sites are like fairy tales. You really have to be able to picture it, and I promise you, you're going to see pictures of all of this at agelesstraveler.com. Aside from being very child-friendly, you can learn to ride horses, particularly in Gozo, and my daughter did. It was a wonderful experience, and she became an equestrian for the rest of her life. There are so many things, not only for adults, but for family and intergenerational. So, yeah. Now, you mentioned Valletta, and you said, you can see so many things. Let me tell you something. You could also eat a lot. So tell us a little bit about the food choices, because it's very eclectic.
Yes, it is. In fact, when we moved here around 14 years ago, in Valletta, there was hardly anything to eat or bars. But in the last 6 or 7 years, it has evolved. And in fact, Malta now has 6 Michelin restaurants across the island. We have a 2-star Michelin at the Iniala Ion restaurant, which is in Valletta. But then you can go and you can have the best pasta, because being on the very near to Sicily, we have a lot of Sicilians have come in and opened these different restaurants around the island. And as you said, the choice, whether it's Asian, whether it's Sicilian, whether it's pasta, whether it's Maltese, which the Maltese love their rabbit. There is something for everyone. And we are fortunate in that our location, people can just wander in. You don't have to make a reservation. Often they just say, look, I'm just going to wander in and sit down and watch the world go by and have a nice pasta, or I'm going to grab a pizza or a salad. So there's something for everyone. And that's what I love about it, is just being able to wander and sort of choose what cuisine you're going to have today or tonight.
Right. We're going to take a little break, but I want to introduce the Phoenicia Hotel to everybody. And when we come back, we're going to take a deeper dive into how to use a hotel if you're in a port, and specifically the Phoenicia. So the Phoenicia Hotel is in a perfect location. I have to tell you that I looked you up on every single thing like TripAdvisor and, book every place that they have reviews. So aside from the whole hotel being a 10, just about everywhere, when you read the comments, what everybody says is location. And you mentioned location. So you can actually walk there. There's an elevator we'll talk about that you can get from the port. You can drive there, and it's a 10-minute walk, by the way. It's got 7 private acres of gardens. If you did stay, you could have a view of the sea. There's no doubt about that. But you could also go and eat. And the cuisine is very upscale. So when we come back, we're going to talk about your spa, which I enjoyed. And my husband, who does not go near a spa, he fell asleep. He was so relaxed. So you guys, if you want to really hear what it means to have a 5+ star hotel, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. What are you doing between March 29th and April 12th, 2025? Are you going on safari? Well, we are. Please come with us on our very first Ageless Traveler trip. I will make sure that you see everything that's on your bucket list. We're going with the very famous Colette Tours, one of the oldest tour operators in the United States. They know us, they respect us, and they provide for us everything that we need. Yes, we are going to Kenya. We will see the city of Nairobi. We're going to the Serengeti. We will see the Big Five. We will also have adventures of a lifetime. If you have been studying safari, or even if you have gone on many safaris, this is something really different. So how do you find out about it and get your special discounts because you're an ageless traveler? Very simple. Go to agelesstraveler.com. That's our website, agelesstraveler.com. Take a look at featured trips. Get the details by clicking right there. You can do everything from inquire, get your question answered, to book right away so that you're going with us. It is a terrific, terrific tour. And by the way, you can also go to the Masai Mara on an optional pre-trip tour. There's a lot more to it than that, because there's yet more opportunity if you have longed to trek with the gorillas in Uganda. Yep, we can make that happen too. So please take a look at agelesstraveler.com, featured travel, and go on safari with us. And now we are back, and we're speaking with Robyn Pratt. She's the general manager of the 5+ star hotel in Malta. We've been talking about the importance of really diversifying your trips. We've been talking about that lately. And Malta is one of the great locations. You can fly there very quickly from any country in Europe easily. I had the privilege of, for the, I think, 3rd time, being in Malta on a port day. And I wanted to see what it would be like to use that day to go to a hotel, something I rarely do. And I did it, and it was one of the best port days I've ever had at the Phoenicia. So when I got there, one of the things I learned about the place, in addition to its beauty and gardens and view, is that it's age-friendly. And one of the things that's very age-friendly is its spa. So we're here with Robyn Pratt. She's the general manager. Robyn, just tell us a little bit about that spa, because it's very unusual.
It certainly is. In fact, we opened it during COVID, but it was actually, obviously it's quite newly developed. But when we were excavating, we had the plans and we were excavating. And as I said, Malta and our hotel is on the doorstep to a UNESCO site. And the excavators started sort of hitting something. They said, oh, this shouldn't be here. So they called in the historians who came in and found that they had hit a wall that dates back to the fortifications of the Knights of St. John, so thousands of years ago. So the owner had to quickly redesign the spa to incorporate this amazing wall. And this wall now we've made a feature of the hotel and of the spa. And, we tell the story of this. And I believe that the beautiful sense of relaxation that people get when they're in the spa is because it is part of history. There's part of history there in that spa. We've had to spend a lot of time and money in ensuring that we have the right level of humidity, because that wall has been underground for thousands of years. So all of a sudden it's above ground. So we have to keep the right air temperatures, and really have taken a lot of pride in developing the right treatments and really creating this haven of relaxation that, as you said, when you walk in, you just do feel that. And I believe this link to history is a big reason why.
Yes. So let me explain how we structured our port day, because I think it's very appropriate. It was almost a fluke, and yet it's probably the best port day I've had. And I can tell you I've been on hundreds and hundreds of port days in the past 65 years that I've been traveling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So first of all, the hotel is very accessible. It's easy to get to. It's beautiful. We did start there. Because of when the ship docked. It was almost lunchtime. Now, if it's earlier, you would do exactly the opposite of what I'm telling you in terms of what did you do first. And you're absolutely right. You will see a picture of this. This spa is nothing like anything else in the world. It was where my husband had a beautiful chair in front of this wall after a massage that he really did deeply sleep. We've been in lithium pools. We've been in all kinds of things, and there's never been this level of relaxation. It has to be just the vibe of the beauty of it. It does have a salt room. You've got all of these usual facial and other things that you would get in any spa. There's brand new ideas for aesthetics. If you do want to get your face a little bit tighter, which I liked. So, and I do want to tell everybody, don't listen to this, Robyn. This is not for you. Allow your mind to wander. It's very inexpensive because I don't want her to raise the price. It's very inexpensive compared to the UK or the US. I was very surprised to see the prices. All right, now you can start listening again, Robyn.
Okay.
So anyway, so don't be afraid because it's a beautiful place. And you say, oh, I can't afford it. No, be surprised. Right. So that's great. And it really made a huge difference. So that's what we did first. And then we had our lunch. And then we went to Valletta. And even from Valletta, we went over to another area which you can go by boat. And it's a little boat. You paid, I think, €5, €5. Take a little boat across.
Yeah, the three cities, Vittoriosa, Sanglia, and Cospicua. They're really beautiful. Yeah.
They are very, very beautiful. And we walked in and walked in and walked. So, and then it was not difficult to take the little boat back and then get back to the port in time. And that is certainly one wonderful way. Now, let's just talk about lunch, and then I want to talk about day trips from the hotel. So we did eat, and it's really wonderful cuisine, but I would call it continental and eclectic, but we only had lunch, so I'm not so sure. You tell me what you're doing in that restaurant.
Yes, so it's called the Contessa, and we're focused on Southern Mediterranean, I would say, with probably for dinner in particular, because our chef he's quite a specialist in seafood and making sure that we're getting the freshest fish, and he really knows how to cook seafood in the best way. So we're really focused on endeavoring to get the freshest of produce here locally. And then, in fact, we've got our own kitchen garden in the gardens, and that's 7 acres that you talked about. And really, as you said, it's not necessarily any one particular cuisine, because we are trying to cater for as many of our guests as possible. But when we describe it, we talk about this focus on Southern Mediterranean, and we talk about tableside entertainment, because we have our trolleys and we do various dishes cooked at the table. Then we've got our fish al sale, which is fish cooked in the raw salt, and then also prepared at the table. And the pisto resistance is tiramisu prepared at the table, which is the most popular. So we try to add that little bit of entertainment, particularly in the evening. It adds to the whole experience, but very popular. And as you said, we have many people coming in to come for lunch and then going back and joining the cruise in the afternoon and just enjoying, because it also looks out over the Marshall Harbour and our gardens. So you've got that outlook as well.
It's very, very beautiful. Now, before we get away from food, I have to ask you, what is this with rabbits? I must tell you that I do not eat meat. So everybody knows that, but my husband is a huge meat eater, and he's looking at these rabbits, and every place you go, not only do they serve the rabbit, but there's a picture of a rabbit, there's a statue of a rabbit. You can't get away from rabbits. What's going on?
And I have to admit as well that I'm not a rabbit eater. I'm Australian, moved here, and I was so amazed when I got here. Same what you're saying, but the Maltese love their rabbit. It's absolutely the national dish. They either barbecue it, they put it in a beautiful, like a stew, and bake it for hours. They fillet it. It's in all the butchers. Rabbit is absolutely the dish of the Maltese.
You know, many of the people listening have been to Madrid. When you go to Madrid, you'll see hams hanging from the ceiling. Ham everywhere. Yeah. Well, this is the same exact thing. It's rabbits. All right.
When I first saw rabbit in the butcher, I was like, what is that? Because they skin the whole rabbit. And I mean,
yeah, I know.
But now I'm used to it. So, yeah.
Well, but be prepared. And be prepared to say something like to your kids. So, in case. Now, before we take another break, we have a series called Travel Bros. When I think of Malta, I think that because of the Knights Templar and its history, there is an element here, and even the shows like Game of Thrones that have been filmed there, they're very masculine, and it's a wonderful kind of masculinity. It's the heroic, historic, swashbuckling kind of masculinity. So tell us a little bit about the history of the island when it comes to that. That's really fascinating things, museums and things you can see.
Yes, as you said, the Knights Templar, there's so many sites and information on that, but also Malta, because it is such a strategic location in the Mediterranean, has been fought over many, many years by the French, the Moors, the English, the British. Everybody wanted Malta. And Malta actually earned the Victoria Cross for the fact that this little tiny island, they did not give in, and they were able to, fight off the enemies and really maintain this British colony, if you like. And for that, it's really, when people come here, as you said, the men, the first thing they say is, I want to go to the Moor Museum. And even the women who are traveling with them, they go and they come back and they're like, wow, that was such an experience, because it really gives a very good overview of Malta throughout the years and the various challenges that it has had as a little island, and the people of Malta. And I think the culture here in Malta, because of the number of times that they've had to fight to maintain this little island, and they're very proud of their island, proud of their heritage, proud of their culture. And for that, as someone who's lived here quite some time, I think it's wonderful. Just in the last 2 weeks, we had a dinner to celebrate 60 years of independence. So Malta became independent from the UK 60 years ago. And it was really interesting because the actual night was Prince Philip at that time, was the person that came and was the official guest. And they had the dinner in our grand ballroom. and we recreated the actual menu that they had 60 years ago. So that was a really special night. And there's a lot of history and a lot of stories that have been created over the years. And in fact, the Grand Ballroom during the World War II was the actual hospital for the naval troops. So there's a lot of history here.
Yes, and I also want to say that I mentioned my granddaughter and my own daughter, but grandson. It happens to be a very, very intriguing place for young boys to see history, learn history. There's an aspect of it that I don't think they'll ever forget in terms of the kind of history and honestly the male role models who were both courageous, really, but chivalrous at the same time. It's an interesting place. It's under your skin, so to say. Now, when I come back, I want to talk about two things that in this show everybody knows we talk about reality. And one is the age friendliness of it. And the other is, I have never seen this before in my life. You have a minister of tourism. He's also the minister of public cleanliness. That's the official title. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that. And don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be right back. Would you like to move, touch, and inspire everyone every time you speak anywhere and about anything? Would you like to be able to speak up to your doctors, to your healthcare providers? When you're a volunteer, do you want your mission and your causes to really make the grade? Well, I will tell you, unfortunately, as we get older, our voices are sometimes not heard. And that's why I created a course especially for you. And if you're an ageless traveler, you will pay only $49 for this course. That's a 50% discount. I really, really want you to learn where to find your voice, how to make that elevator pitch if you're a brand new later life entrepreneur, and how to speak to your family, your grandkids. It will make relationships better. The course is called Speak Out Communication, How to Move, Touch, and Inspire Anyone, Anywhere, at any time. You'll find it very easily on the agelesstraveler.com, agelesstraveler.com, travel products. And now we are back. And I do want to remind everybody that there's a lot of information that we give you free of charge that I don't have time to talk about during our little breaks. One of them is our free ebooks. Please, if you are a caregiver and if you need to travel with your care recipient, it's a very hard thing to do. We've put together a free ebook, Caregivers Travel Guide. That's caregiverstravelguide.com. Now, if you love to travel and your biggest problem is it's not as affordable as you thought it would be, but you still want to travel in luxury, well, this show is about that. Malta is a place you could certainly go. There's an affordability factor here. But if you really want a lot of hints and tips with 75 different websites you could look at, and it's free, you want luxurytravelforless.info, luxurytravelforless.info. And if you want everything to be open to you in the world and meet new people that love to travel, please join our salon. That's agelesstraveler.com, and you will see the free join button for our Facebook salon, where we really discuss travel and we give each other our opinions and insights. So I'm going to do that right now with our guest. Her name is Robyn Pratt. She's the general manager of a beautiful hotel, the Phoenicia Hotel in Valletta, Malta. As they say, Valletta, which is a UNESCO site, the whole city's UNESCO site, is at your door if you stay at this hotel. But now I'm talking about practicalities, Robyn. We're here, Life Doing Travel Made Easy. I look at hotels and I go to the accessible rooms. I want to see what they look like. And it's unbelievably different from the regular rooms. All the hotel is doing is it's complying. The minute I hear the word compliance, I walk out the door. Because compliance means they see this as an obligation and not a joy. But your rooms are not like that. So I think you should talk about what you mean by accessible. And if you have any hints and tips for seeing the surroundings, because you're right in the UNESCO site.
We have many of our guests who really, whether they're, on wheelchairs or they need just a flat surface, more of they can't walk up and down hills, whether you're staying with us or not. Going into Valletta, you don't need to walk up and down the hills. You can walk directly. It's sort of even to walk through the city, and you see an awful lot as well. And it's, as you said, it's very safe. People feel confident in being able to go in and walk around or just sit, and you see lots of things going on around you. But as far as the hotel goes, we welcome guests of all ages and ability, and our accessible rooms are more around the bathroom facilities and allowing guests the ease of being able to use the bathrooms if they are more physically challenged with regards to having the bathtub, or with regards to all aspects of the bath area. But then also we have our Palm Court Lounge, where they can feel very comfortable in being able to sit and while the day. And we have different phases of the day with entertainment and watching people walk through all of our public area, as far as the restaurant, the lounge, the bar, and our other beef bar restaurant are on one level, so it's very easy to get round. And then I have a great belief that you get what you give in life, and this is the sort of the philosophy we share throughout the team, and that is that every guest who comes through the door is very important, and we want them to feel special. In fact, I was just reading a testimony now, and the person said, I felt like I was the only person in the hotel. We really want people to feel special, and whatever it is that they need to have the ability to enjoy their Malta experience, we really want to try to do our best to deliver on that.
This is a hidden thing in hospitality. People wonder, why is something a 4-star versus a 5-star, let's say? Mm-hmm. And you can look at a 4-star and a 5-star hotel. They could look exactly alike, but it's what you don't see. It's the service. It's the service and the attitude, and that has to do with the ageless tourism too. You're never made to feel that you are less than who you are. And, you can't, it's a look in the eye. It's the way people talk to you. It's the way they ask you, when you go into the massage room is a great example where you still feel autonomous. You're in control. They ask you, do you want this robe? Do you want that robe? Are you comfortable this way? Are you comfortable that way? And it's just a very different experience. And that's the elevation. It's not just what does the chandelier look like, even though your chandeliers are very, very nice. Now, we got to talk about one problem with tourism right now. And then we're going to go on an up note. We'll end on an up note. A lot of places have over-tourism. There's too many tourists. And Venice are closing the doors. I mean, look.
Yeah.
And the place they can't keep it clean. But you don't get that in Malta. Is it a culture? I've never seen anything like this. We walked, to little tiny corners of both of the cities, the 3 cities and Valletta. And you could really eat off the floor, no joke. Yeah. How do you do that? And can you teach the world to do that?
As you said, our Minister for Tourism, who's also in charge of cleanliness, there is a lot of focus from the operators like ourselves to maintain the destination. In fact, Malta became one of the first destinations to want to become a Forbes destination. So they're really pushing to get those high standards across all of their operators, so that we can together offer an experience to the people that are coming into Malta. And yes, tourism is increasing as well here in Malta, and the operators are all focused on, let's try and balance this, guys, so that we don't become another Venice or, sort of the other areas around the Mediterranean which are experiencing this, which is sad to say.
Yes, I know that, and I see it because I've been traveling over the years, so I'm almost like a one-person longitudinal study. Let's, as I said, end with a high note. Frankly, there's a lot to see in Malta. Many people, as I say, use the port. Many people go there for a few days, but really you could make your whole vacation
Yeah.
in Malta. You truly could. And so let's say you were staying at the hotel. It's not a port for you. You're there a week. You're there 10 days. There are a lot of day trips. Tell us a little bit about where you would go on a couple of those day trips.
Sure. Well, also, we're getting more and more coming for pre and post. That's something we're also finding as well. But definitely going into Valletta, there's the beautiful, I don't know if you saw it, St. John's Co-Cathedral, where they have the Caravaggio there. That's definitely sort of a 45-minute tour that you can't not come to Malta and Valletta and go and see. And
yes,
then
we
there's
do that.
Yes.
For those of you who do not really know who Caravaggio is, there's been a wonderful exhibit that I managed to see 3 times, once in New York, once in England, and once in Scotland. Caravaggio is the artist that other artists say they copy.
Mm-hmm.
The great artists that you know, even all the way up through Picasso, were influenced by Caravaggio, who is less known in his day than probably now, because he was a great breakthrough artist. And it's very difficult to see Caravaggio, but you've got him.
Yes, no, absolutely, in the cathedral. And then, taking a stroll, it's called the Upper and Lower Baracca Gardens. The Grand Harbour of Malta is something quite spectacular to view from the gardens. In fact, this weekend we have the Rolex Middle Sea Race, and I'm telling the guests to get there tomorrow at 11 a.m. because if you are here in mid-October, you need to go and see that. These beautiful, huge maxi yachts are brought in from all over the world, and they start their race here in Malta in the Grand Harbour, and they race all up around Sicily and come back. They'll be arriving back into the Grand Harbour probably, and depending on the wind, in 2 or 3 days. So that's something quite special to go and see the Grand Harbour. There's the Grand Master's Palace, which has been recently reopened after a massive renovation. That's in Valletta. And then Fort St. Elmo. So there's, and again, with European funds, but there's been many treasures of Malta have been restored over recent years, which is why you're saying you see things and it's clean and it's beautiful because they've been recently restored and they're being looked after. So you can go for a drive out to the town of Medina, have a walk around, and there's a little place called Rabat, which is a sister city to Medina, and there, along with rabbit, another favorite treat for the Maltese, it's called the pastizzi, and it's a pastry. You can either get sweet or savory, and you'll see many of these little pastizzi stores around the island, but they say the best is in Rabat. So sort of taking a morning and sitting at one of these little places in Rabat over with a cup of tea, or just watching the world go by is something that I like to do when I get the time on a weekend morning. And then many people obviously love to go to Gozo, which is also a day trip. And then just taking a day out. Malta from the water is truly something spectacular. It's, huge cliff faces and very beautiful, very spectacular spaces from the water. So we actually have a very, it's not a big boat, but a small boat that we sort of take out and enjoy the sunset during the summer and autumn months, really. It's from spring through to autumn. You can go out, and it's very special just to spend a little bit of time on a boat somewhere around Malta, even if you're not taking the trip to Gozo. But we have the fast ferry from Valletta, just near where you were with the cruise port, and you can get over to Gozo within sort of half an hour, do a little tour around Gozo, come back. And everything is accessible. So you can drive around the whole island in a day. You can get a really nice understanding of what there is to see.
Now, I will say that you're making quite an effort for the winter traveler because, my group loves to go to winter markets, but we certainly don't think of any Mediterranean. We're thinking of Eastern Europe when we think about the markets, or Germany, or New York City for Christmas markets, but we don't think of going to the Mediterranean for Christmas. So what's happening there during our winter months?
Sure. So Actually, Malta, being a very Catholic country, they love to dress up. They're the little villages at Christmas time. And there's quite a competition with the Christmas lights in the villages. It becomes very fairyland-like going through the different villages, and particularly at Evie, it is very special. In Nadua, in Gozo, they actually have a living nativity scene, which you can go over, as I said, catch the fast ferry from Valletta. Seeing the Christmas lights set up, it's quite a major thing. Something that was really unique when I came, and it's so popular. So obviously Christmas Mass is incredibly special and very popular. But what they do, the hotels, after people have been to Mass, there's actually an early morning Christmas buffet people come to, and it's like a full Christmas Day lunch that they have at 12:30 in the morning until around 2 a.m. in the morning. Then they go home and do their gifts and go to bed, and then they'll get up and they have their big Christmas lunch. It's quite a phenomenon that people love here. They love Christmas. It's really widely celebrated. And obviously, I've been swimming on Christmas Day. I've been swimming on New Year's Eve. It's the weather can be amazing. So, it's really somewhere that you could come and enjoy still the sights of Malta. It's not so crowded, and the Christmas time is quite special. In fact, we have many regulars who come back year in, year out for festive time in Malta.
So it's really a beautiful, beautiful place to go. It's time for you to consider Malta. So you've done a fabulous job of painting the picture verbally. We're going to paint the picture with real pictures so people can know what this is really all about. And my suggestion to the ageless travelers are twofold. One, if you're going on a Mediterranean cruise and there's so many of them to choose from, pick one that at least goes to Malta for a day. It's a really important place not to be missed. Second, if you're sitting there and many of you say to me, I don't know where to go anymore. How many times can I go to Paris? Well, you poor thing. So, but we sometimes get a little travel burnout, and we're looking for something that's very inspirational that we would like to go to, that's manageable, safe, and accessible. And that would be Malta. You should put it on your list. So thank you so much. This has been a wonderful, wonderful review of a spectacular destination.
A real pleasure to speak with you, and I look forward to welcoming many of your listeners over the next year or so. We have one, just to tell you, we have one guest who's been coming back every year for the last 69 years.
How wonderful. That's truly an ageless traveler. So remember, everybody, that we have all of our wonderful free ebooks. We have all of our podcasts, articles, and a terrific YouTube channel, Ageless Traveler YouTube channel. So go ahead, take a look at all of that. And what we're going to be doing is offering everything free of charge to our listeners. So don't be afraid to proselytize and tell people who love to travel to be part of this too by going to Ageless Traveler. And of course, never stop traveling.